Let's start with the first page. It's a picture.
Your Honor,
It's a picture.
they haven't given me the pages yet.
Writing them down.
Sorry, Judy. Let's write them down first.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, all right.
If we could please publish this to the jury.
91A in evidence.
Thank you.
Over objection.
This is a picture that's on the inside cover of the Love notebook, correct?
That's correct.
And this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp.
That's correct.
And you're in Australia in this picture, aren't you?
Yes, but that's much later once we returned.
You can see that Mr. Depp's right hand is bandaged, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was after it had recovered significantly. That's not what it looked like during the incident we were just talking about.
So this is a picture after the events in Australia in March of 2015, correct?
Yeah, yes, that photograph was taken months later.
We have the jury look at that photograph again, please. Let's now turn to page 3. This is a note you wrote in the journal to Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what it looks like, yes.
This is actually the first note you wrote to him in this journal.
I don't remember what the first note was.
The date on this note is May 22nd, 2015, correct?
That is correct. That was during our honeymoon period.
This is just a little bit over 2 months after the events in Australia in March of 2015, right?
That's correct. We were back in a honeymoon phase. That was the period of sobriety I spoke about yesterday.
When after Mr. Depp had allegedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was after the stairs and it was after the Australia incident, yes. And he got clean and sober and we went back to Australia.
It's also 2 months after you punched Mr. Depp because you allegedly thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs, right?
I hit him when he swung at my sister. And this is written months later, yes.
You thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs like he had thrown Kate Moss down the stairs, right?
He swung at Whitney, and I had heard a rumor, a vague rumor about that. And so it's what I thought of.
In this first message to Mr. Depp in your journal, you write, quote, "True love isn't about just the madness of passion or instead picking the safety of peace. No, it's about having both, falling madly in love with your friend. That is what has surprised me perhaps the most, that I have seen in you the true bones of friendship and respect. But of course, I still, perhaps more than ever, want to rip you apart, devour you, and savor the taste. Fret not. XX Slim."
Yes, it's a love note.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And you're Slim, right?
That's correct.
Ms. Hurd, I'm now going to ask you to take a look at the very last entry you wrote in this journal, which seems to be from April 8th. That would be April 8th, 2016, correct?
I'm not quite sure. I don't see the year written on there, and I don't recognize it yet.
It would be a couple weeks. April 8th would be a couple weeks before your birthday, though, right?
That's correct.
Just to confirm, this is a note you wrote to Mr. Depp, right?
That's what it looks like, yes.
And on the second page of this note, you wrote the following. Quote, "I'm sorry I can get crazy. I'm sorry I hurt you. Like you, I can get wicked when I am hurt, when I feel provoked, shattered. And last night I was. I felt abandoned about the Lily Rose thing, felt absolutely bewildered about your not coming home on my last night here, and was heartbroken and angry after many attempts in vain on my part to rectify the situation and make amends on the last night of what was otherwise a gorgeous trip with you. I'm so sorry for my part. None of this is meant to be an excuse for hurting you, because the truth is, nothing is. There is never a reason good enough to hurt you. You are the last thing in the whole world who deserves it. Last person I ever meant to hurt. I love you, Steve. I am forever yours, Slim." Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
Thank you. Ms. Hurd, let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 423, which is already in evidence. This is a picture of you with what appears to be straight red marks on your arms, correct?
Those are scars from the broken glass.
And they're straight and red, right?
I disagree with how you characterize that, but they are red, yes.
And they're on your left arm?
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Hurd, you have a history of cutting yourself, don't you?
I do not.
You cut your arm once as a teenager, isn't that right?
No, I said I wanted to. When I was put on birth control pills when I was a teenager, I felt crazy, and I said I felt suicidal.
Since your testimony under oath that you didn't report to Dr. Hughes, your retained psychologist, that you had cut yourself as a teenager once?
I said I had told my mom that I wanted to when I was a teenager.
Ms. Hurd, we heard some testimony from you yesterday about a trip you and Mr. Depp took on a train in Southeast Asia. Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
That was when you and Mr. Depp went on your honeymoon trip, correct?
That's correct.
And that was in July of 2015?
Yes, that sounds right.
Let's take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 162, which is already in evidence. You were here in this courtroom, right, Ms. Hurd, when Malcolm Connolly testified to taking this picture?
That's correct.
This is the picture. This picture shows an injury to Mr. Depp's face, doesn't it?
I disagree. I've seen this picture.
Okay, Ms. Hurd,
I've seen
I got
this picture
the answer. Thank
before,
you.
and
You
he's
disagree?
not injured in it.
He's not injured in this picture. That's your testimony. Fine.
This one is Photoshopped.
Ms. Hurd, I have your answer. Thank you. This is the only photograph from your honeymoon that shows someone with an injury, correct?
That's not true.
We haven't seen any photos of injuries to your face from that train trip, have we?
I don't believe my face was injured on that trip.